In this video, we are going to cover 5 money saving tips when living in New York City. These 5 money saving tips helped me when I was living in New York City, both when I had a full-time job and when I was unemployed. With these 5 money saving tips, I was not only able to live my lifestyle in New York City, but I was also able to save money for a house and also invest in the stock market. If you're curious on how a regular 20-something can live in New York City while saving money and living their best life, then this video is definitely for you. Hello my coins, welcome back to our channel. If you are new, my name is Joy, and on this channel we help millennials build wealth so they can live life on their terms. If you're interested on how to make money, save money, and build wealth while living in a big city, then definitely subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos in the future. Now, the first tip that I want to go into that is going to help you save money when you're living in the city is really understanding what is your why, or what is your motivation. Because I feel like if you don't understand why you're doing something, whether that is in finance or in relationships and anything else in your life, it's going to be really hard to stay motivated. I actually learned this in the book Atomic Habits, and I highly recommend you guys to read this book if you really want to make small changes in your life or small habits that will result in big changes. So one of them could be like, I want to lose weight. Maybe you want to get really skinny, but in order to be skinny, you can't just want to lose weight. You have to really embrace that lifestyle of everything that goes into someone who is actually athletically fit. So that's where I tie into the why for someone who saves money in New York City. So let's say your goal is that you want to buy a $15 million brown house on Perry Street. Now, $15 million means that you need a 20% down payment, which is roughly around $3 million. Or maybe your goal is that you just don't want to live with 6 people in an apartment in the Upper East Side and spend an hour commuting downtown to hang out with your friends. Those are all different scenarios or motivations that are going into that. Now, let's say you want to buy this brownstone, or you want to live closer downtown. That means that you need to have more money to pay for rent. So someone who has more money to pay for rent are probably higher up in their career. They've moved up to be able to afford that type of lifestyle. So you have to do all the different things inside of your life that are going to go into that effect. So someone who's typically successful in their career is someone who wakes up early, or someone who makes sure that they have like a really strong routine, etc. So think about your why, and then think about all the small little habits that go into that. Because if you're understanding your why and why you need to save money, then you're going to be able to make those small habit changes inside of your life so you can make sure that you're holding yourself accountable and reminding why it's important for you. I think it's also really helpful to really break down what your big goals are going to be. So every few months, I'll actually update my vision board. I use just like this vision board that I got, literally someone wanted to throw it out, and you can just push pins on it. And what I do is I print out magazines, or I go on Pinterest and I just print out photos of things that I want in my life. Like for example, if I want a really nice house, then I'm gonna print out the house that I want from like what I found online and then post it over there. That way I'm constantly working to that goal. Okay, so tip number 2 on 5 ways to save money when you're living in New York City is you definitely need to know your budget. So I know that's commonly oversaid, but you really need to know how much money it takes for you to just live in New York City. So what I would do is I would take out a pen and paper and I would write down your rent. And then I would write down all your like basic necessities, like your electric bill, your cell phone bill, all your bills that you add up together, even coming down to like your Netflix and Spotify bill that you pay every month. And then what I would do is I would do like the last 90 days on your credit card history. You can do this for any bank. It's pretty helpful. You just go through your credit history for the last 90 days and just add up all of the different like expenses you had for things like Uber Eats or Postmates or like taking an Uber, that sort of thing. And then you can kind of get a rough estimate of how much you spend for those type of things. I know for myself, with rent, everything added together, I know that my monthly amount is probably $3,000. Now, that may seem like a lot or not a lot to some of you guys, depending on where you are in your life right now, and that's totally fine. There's no need to compare yourself to someone else's point because everyone's journey is completely different. Now, also, my budget might be different than someone else's budget because I might spend more for my rent because I care more about what my home is going to be like and where I live than being outside or going traveling or another expense. And I actually have a video that talks about all of that on like how to budget your life and the 30-70 rule for like what you want to spend that brings the most joy. So I'll put the link over here for you guys to check that out as well. So definitely create a budget, and then you know how much money you can have for like playtime. I know every weekend, and I've shared this with some budget with me videos, is that I spend about like $200 on every weekend for fun stuff. So that can be like going to brunch, going shopping, my bar tab, all that stuff. I'm a lightweight, so like 2 drinks gets me pretty drunk. Anyways, okay, so let's get into tip number 3. And if the lighting's bad, sorry, it's like kind of partly cloudy today, and that is transportation. So in the city, if you're used to taking Ubers or Lyfts, they're actually going to be probably more expensive living in New York right now. One, because of the panini, because you can't do a shared ride, which is usually how I would travel with Uber and Lyft, so I pay a smaller amount. But now you get your own personal car because of the panini, so it's like $16 to $20 per ride. So I basically walk everywhere. The neighborhood that I picked that uniquely because I knew it had a really high walk score, meaning that you could just walk around and a lot of things are easily accessible to you. That's also important with me. That's why my rent is higher. Because I walk everywhere, I can get to like places pretty quickly. I don't have to pay for an Uber and that sort of thing. Another thing that I've done as of last year, which is going to be renewed coming up, is I paid an annual membership to the City Bike. So City Bike are the bikes that you can just on demand get anywhere in the city. They're really convenient. You just scan the app on the City Bike and you unlock the bike and you can park it anywhere. I actually really like this more than having your own personal bike. One, because you don't have to store it. 2, there's parking spots for them. So like if you have your own personal bike, not only do you risk your bike getting stolen sometimes, but you have to like find an area and tie your bike, and it's like kind of annoying. So I have a membership for the City Bike. I ride it basically everywhere. Unless there's like a blizzard or something and I really can't take my bike, I will take the City Bike. That has saved me a lot of money, so I highly recommend you look at cheaper alternatives that will definitely save you money in the long run. Okay, so tip number 4 is being more adventurous with which restaurants you go to. I know a lot of people find it fun to go to like those like big bougie restaurants like Budokan or like STK and Meatpacking, and while those are like really fun, sexy, and they have great ambiance, I personally don't think the food tastes as good as if you went to like a mom and pop shop in Lower East Side or the East Village or Chinatown or Little Italy. Personally for me, I rather go to an authentic mom and pop restaurant. A lot of these mom and pop restaurants are have been in New York for a really long time, and they're definitely more affordable. I think because they've been in the city for a really long time, they might be rent stabilized in the rent price, or maybe they own the building. So you can definitely go to Chinatown, for instance, and you can get like a full-blown meal for under $10. I really love going to Bo Kai, which is like this like Chinese, Vietnamese fusion restaurant over in Chinatown. I also really love going to the Lower East Side. There's a lot of great like Eastern European restaurants over there. The East Village also has really great like Indian food and like Latin American food. So definitely check out all of those spots. You also can't go wrong with getting dollar pizza. Although like I eat the whole pie, so I don't really think that saves money. But yeah, you should definitely check out local mom and pop restaurants. Not only are you saving money, but you're definitely like supporting a small local business during the panini. So I would definitely check that out. And I'm going to be actually doing some more videos about cheap eats when the weather is like more warm and I'm not like freezing and like my bagel's not frozen when I'm doing this video. So if you guys are enjoying this video and you also want to see cheap eats, then definitely subscribe and hit the notification bell. But in the time being, while you're waiting for that, I would definitely check out big channels like Fung Bros. They have this whole like cheap eats through Chinatown that they've been doing throughout the entire panini, and it's really great to support local restaurants over there. So check that out as well. And then my last tip that I'm going to go over it is be the one that does the offer. So what I mean by that is, let's say you are going to decide to have roommates, be the one that offers to be the only person on that lease. And I know that sounds really scary to be the only person on that lease that is going to share like this like $4,000 or $5,000 rent, but I promise you I did this like little home hack back in San Francisco, and not only was I able to save a couple $100s on my rent, but I was able to build a lot of credit on my rent. And also when I went to go apply for a mortgage loan and they asked me what my rent was, I was able to say a larger number. So definitely think about that. I have a video that talks in more detail about that and how to find cheap rent, which I will tag over here. And also another thing that you can do is also make sure when you're going down and you're eating out with a bunch of friends that you're the one that offers to put your credit card down, and make sure you pay it off. So you're going to put your credit card down, one that collects a lot of points. I recommend Chase Sapphire Reserve, and I have a video over here that talks in more detail about it. But basically you can collect 3 points back for every dollar that you spend. That definitely adds up, and then you just make sure that everyone Venmos you like right there in that setting, so when you pay it off you have a lot of points that you build up, and you can pay off like small things like groceries and stuff like that over time. So those are my 5 tips. I hope you guys like these 5 tips. If you do, make sure you share them. Why is it getting dark, or like them so I know, and it tells the YouTube algorithm. I'm also starting a Facebook community page for people moving to New York City or trying to just thrive and make it in New York City. So the comments down below are going to have that link, so definitely join and let's get to know each other more on a personal level. You can also find me on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hope you stay rich and good luck. Bye.